Welcome to our third video on best practices for writing local quality assessment items. This module will examine constructing effective answer choices and best practices for using visual aids in assessments. A resource called Checklist for Quality Item Design is in the resources folder for this presentation and contains each checklist used in this video. The objectives for this session are: districts will be able to implement best practices when constructing answer choices, understand best practices for visual aids in assessment, and then evaluate and identify exemplar and non-exemplar question stems and answer choices. We're now moving into constructing effective answer choices. This step is crucial for ensuring a well-rounded assessment. We've covered stems, and now it's time to delve into crafting options that accurately test the intended knowledge or skill. In constructing effective answer choices, it's pivotal to ask critical questions. Are the options plausible, stated clearly and succinctly? Are they mutually exclusive, ensuring each choice is distinct? Are they homogeneous in content? They must also be free from clues hinting at the correct response and structured to offer only one correct answer. We'll delve deeper into each aspect, starting with implausible alternatives. These discussions are vital in ensuring the integrity and effectiveness of our answer choices. Evaluating these elements helps create a robust set of choices that accurately assess a student's comprehension of skills. In crafting assessment answer choices, the inclusion of functional distractors or incorrect but plausible options is crucial. These distractors aim to test students who haven't fully grasped the learning outcome. However, when implausible choices exist, they fail to serve this purpose effectively. Consider a welding course question seeking the best technique for clean, precise, and strong weld. The options provided are arc weld, chewing gum, TIG weld, popcorn weld, and crazy glue. Chewing gum and crazy glue, while seemingly humorous, aren't credible welding materials. They lack credibility, and they allow students to discard these choices quickly. The issue lies in these non-plausible options. They don't effectively challenge or test a student's understanding. Students quickly recognize the implausibility of certain choices, eliminating them without genuine consideration. In essence, functional distractors should be credible enough to challenge students who haven't mastered the material, yet non-plausible options exist. They fail to serve this role. This highlights the importance of all answer choices being plausible to ensure an accurate and reliable assessment of a student's comprehension or skills. When constructing answer choices, clarity and conciseness are pivotal. Overly wordy options tend to assess a student's reading ability rather than their grasp of the learning objective. While longer choices might be acceptable in reading-focused courses, in most cases, they hinder the assessment's aim. For instance, consider the non-example with long paragraphs defining the term hypothesis in research. Such complexity can overwhelm students, leading to missed answers. A more effective approach involves presenting options that allow students to complete a sentence rather than lengthy paragraphs. Clear, concise choices facilitate easier identification of the correct answer, thereby ensuring a more effective assessment aligned with learning objectives. A more effective approach is to present answer choices in a completion format. For instance, providing a stem like, the term hypothesis as used in research is defined as blank, allows students to finish the sentence. This concise format avoids lengthy paragraph-style responses. It enables students to easily identify the correct answer, ensuring a more streamlined assessment that yields clearer and more reliable data aligned with the learning objectives. Answer choices must be mutually exclusive to avoid confusion and maintain integrity in the assessment process. Overlapping content and options can be perceived as trickery by students, undermining trust in the test's fairness. Consider a culinary arts question about yeast bread rising frequency. In the non-example, the choices once, a few times, twice, or at least 3 times. The options are mutually exclusive. Students might confuse a few times with at least 3 times, leading to potential errors. However, the example offers choices once, twice, 3 times and more than 3 times. The options are distinct and clear. This ensures students can easily identify the correct answer without ambiguity or overlap, yielding more accurate and reliable data in the assessment. When districts craft assessment, ensuring mutually exclusive answer choices is paramount. It's not merely about testing knowledge, but also about fostering trust in the evaluation process. When students encounter questions with ambiguous options, it can lead to frustration and a sense of unfairness. They might perceive such questions as a trick item that is designed to confuse them rather than assess knowledge. This perception impacts student sentiment towards the test, potentially affecting their confidence and attitude towards future assessments. Hence, emphasizing clear, distinct, and mutually exclusive choices in assessments becomes crucial. It not only enhances the reliability of the data gathered, but also fosters a positive test-taking experience, encouraging students to engage confidently in their assessments. Answer choices should be homogeneous in content to avoid inadvertently providing clues to the correct answer. In the non-example, where the question touches upon various topics like state knowledge, agriculture, physical features, flags, and nicknames, a student's incorrect response doesn't reveal where their weaknesses lie. It becomes challenging to discern whether the student lacks knowledge in state agriculture, physical features, flags, or nicknames. Homogeneous answers choices allow that assessment to precisely pinpoint the area where a student needs improvement, offering more actionable insights for educators. In the revised example, the answer choices were reworked to focus solely on the topic of state agriculture. This modification allows for a clearer understanding of a student's knowledge gap. If a student answers incorrectly, it signals to the teacher a specific area of weakness. This targeted insight empowers educators to provide tailored interventions, such as additional instruction or resources to strengthen the student's understanding in that particular area. Ultimately, the goal is to gather precise and actionable data that supports both student growth and effective teaching strategies in the classroom. Ensuring that answer choices do not inadvertently offer clues to the correct response is crucial. Savvy test takers can exploit subtle differences in grammar, length, formatting, or language within the answer choices to deduce the correct answer. To prevent this, the alternative should maintain consistency in grammar and structure, remaining parallel in form and using similar language throughout. When there's a stark contrast in language style or structure, students can easily identify the odd one out, potentially leading them straight to the correct answer. Therefore, by maintaining uniformity and coherence in the answer choices, we create a fairer assessment that accurately evaluates a student's knowledge rather than their test-taking strategy prowess. Answer choices should be free from clues. In the non-example, the poor formulation of the question is unintentionally providing a clue to the correct answer. The use of the word "and" signals to an astute test taker that it should precede a word beginning with a vowel. The subtle logic cue can lead students to quickly eliminate options B through D, leaving only option A as the potential answer. This scenario underscores the importance of crafting answer choices that are devoid of such hints of linguistic giveaways, ensuring that students arrive at the correct response based on their understanding of the content, not through identifying subtle language clues. In contrast, the example is an improved version, and it avoids the use of linguistic cues by placing "and" or "a" in front of the response choices. By eliminating the potentially suggestive language, this formulation prompts students to make a clear decision based on their knowledge of the subject matter rather than linguistic patterns. This approach reduces ambiguity, ensuring there's no inadvertent hints are provided, ultimately resulting in more reliable data from the student responses. Pause the video and use the checklist to determine if the item meets the components of the checklist for effective answer choices. Once complete, resume the video. It appears most areas on the checklist are covered. It is plausible, clear and concise, and mutually exclusive answer choices. However, when it comes to homogeneity in content, there's a bit of an issue. The options aren't quite consistent in terms of content. For instance, El Paso, being a city, is not a geographic region. That stands out in this context. The question aimed at identifying geographic regions of Texas. So having El Paso as an option makes it inconsistent. It might be better to replace it with a region like the Piney Woods to maintain that consistency across all answers. We will now cover best practices to consider for visual aids when designing assessment items. When evaluating visuals in our assessments, consider these key questions. Is the visual aid solely supportive, enhancing the student's ability to display proficiency? Does it offer adequate information to answer the question? And lastly, is it clear, legible, and devoid of unnecessary visual distractions? Let's delve into an exemplar to illustrate this criteria. The visual in this example, extracted from an 8th grade science test, showcases the effective use of a table in a water displacement experiment to determine the density of an unidentified rock. By comparing the volume changes in water levels and referencing the density ranges in the table, students can accurately identify the rock type. This demonstrates the importance of visuals in aiding question comprehension and providing a clear path to the correct answer. Visuals should serve as a reliable tool for answering questions without introducing confusion or ambiguity. If a visual aids in answering the question effectively and unambiguously, it's a valuable asset in assessment. Now let's practice using visuals on an assessment. Pause the video and use the checklist to determine if the item meets the components of the checklist. Once complete, resume the video. In examining the visual related to the TEKS on citizenship, focusing on the importance of free speech and press in a constitutional republic, it effectively supports the standard. The visual depicts individuals expressing varying opinions on a gubernatorial candidate, aligning with the idea of political expression. The question associated with the visual about the importance of the interaction in U.S. society seems directly linked to the standard. The art offers clarity without visual clutter, solely presenting relevant figures and texts. The level of clarity and alignment allows students to effectively answer the question and demonstrate their understanding of the concept of free speech within a constitutional republic. Let's review what's been covered in this module. For answer choices, assess if they are plausible, clear, mutually exclusive, homogeneous in content, free from clues, and have only one correct answer. When it comes to visuals, confirm if they support the standard, provide enough information, and maintain clarity without clutter. These criteria essentially summarize the best practices for crafting quality assessment items, making sure they align with the standards and effectively measure student understanding. Thank you for joining our webinar on implementing student growth measures, best practices for writing local quality assessment items, where we explored constructing effective answer choices and visuals. Please view our sister sessions to learn more about quality item design.